bad it is. And when that happens, you turn angry. You lose hope. Bill mentioned the word confidence in what the future holds. In that environment, you have no confidence in what the future holds. The future means nothing to you. It meant nothing to me. You know, my days in high school were all about violence. I was suspended from high school 17 times. Might not look like it today, but at that time, I was suspended from high school 17 times. The last time was I got into an argument with a kid on, this will resonate maybe with some of you, on whether Walt Frazier or Earl Monroe was a better guard. Earl the Pearl was with the Bullets at that time, just for clarification purposes. Now, we all know Walt Frazier was a better guard, right? Of course. That disagreement, as silly disagreements in inner cities can happen, turned violent, and I threw him out of a third-story window. Fortunately, he only broke a leg and a hip. During my years as a teen, I had a close affiliation with law enforcement officials in Miami. At 15, I dropped out of school. And that's when bad behavior turned to worse behavior. So I was out of school for 2.5 years. And one day I had an amazing thing happen to me. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Miami, but there's Edison High is at Northwest 7th Avenue and 62nd Street, which is in Liberty City, which is a very, very difficult neighborhood in Miami. I'm sitting under the expressway. Now, I can assure you, in any city in America, nothing good happens under the expressway. Nothing. So I'm sitting under the expressway, and nothing good was happening to me, and I was watching some activities around me. And something came to me at that moment, like a lightning bolt. When I was 15, just before I left school, I had an English teacher who was about 72 years old, a very tough, persistent lady who made every kid read in school. Now, in my school, when you got up to read at Edison High, no one could read. Kids couldn't finish a complete sentence. I was always a reader. I read the entire page flawlessly. Got ready to leave the class, and she reached out and she grabbed me by the elbow and she said, "Tom, I want to ask you something. I'm familiar with your, let's call it academic record in school. I'm familiar with all the problems that you've had. I just watched you read." She says, "I only have one question for you and one thought I want to put in your mind." I said, "What is it?" And she said, "Why are you so determined to waste your life?" I walked out of the room. I never thought about that phrase for 2.5 years. That day, under that expressway, that phrase came back to me. I looked around at the activities that I was watching, and I realized that I was wasting my life. I walked 9 blocks that day, took a public bus to the Lindsay Hopkins Adult Education Center in Miami, and I enrolled in a GED program. Took 2 years. I didn't finish high school until I was 19, but I got my GED. And I started college. Went to Miami-Dade Community College, public all the way. Went to Florida International University. When I arrived at Florida International University, I worked my way through college as a busboy at IHOP and a security guard in Bal Harbour. Some of you may know where Bal Harbour is. 30 years later, I returned to that university as chairman of the board. That was a very impactful moment when I came back. It took me 2 terms to graduate, Reagan's first term and Reagan's second term. But 8 years later, I plodded my way through college and got a job working in the accounting department at a bank. And from then on, my career has been different, my life has been different. And my wife and I have dedicated ourselves to the thought process of mentoring students, supporting public education, creating scholarship funds for needy students at state universities. And most of our efforts from a philanthropic perspective are focused on helping disadvantaged kids get through something like this. Because when you think about what you've heard today and you think about the work that New York Edge does, just think about these numbers for a second. 36,000 kids, some of them you've met today. Just do the math in your head for 1 minute. If you can positively impact 36,000 kids, and each one of those kids can go out and positively impact 10 people, That's 360,000 people. If those 10 in one generation can go out and positively impact 10 more people, you can change the world. Somebody mentioned changing the world. Even that number is big in New York City. That's 3 million people. Right? So every day, this organization has the opportunity and does give kids from disadvantaged backgrounds what they do not have, what I personally know, and I can tell you that they do not have, which is hope, focus, an opportunity to see a broader world, an opportunity to think that there is something beyond the life that they live every day, and an opportunity to believe that they can go from nowhere and nobody to somewhere and somebody. So please support this group. They do fantastic work. I'm very happy to be with you today and happy to share with you my story. Onward.
Oh my God. I don't know. Thank you, Tom. That was such an amazing story. And, you know, I was taking notes. This is so much that we capture here today that comes from your heart. And thank you, Rashid. You are both such inspirations. Thinking that we can continue to impact our students. We struggle to do that, and we do need your support. But before I reach out to you further, for you to think about that, I do want to thank several people. But please remember, at your table, there are people, whether they're board members or staff members. I would love you to think of ways you might like to get more involved with New York Edge, because it is impacting the kids and that ripple effect, but it is also about spreading this word about what must happen and what needs to happen for New York Edge to continue to thrive and serve our children. So, you know, in fact, there are two board members in this room, Laurie and Rashid, who were at this event and learned about New York Edge for the first time, and so they became board members. And so who knows, there may be others here who may emerge, and there will be this great connection, and who will answer the call to serve in such a noble capacity. A few years ago, the board of directors recognized that to sustain the work of New York Edge, we'd have to make private fundraising a priority. And so I want to thank all of our board members. Would the board members stand, please? I'm not going to call your names, but if the board members would please stand. Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you. I mean, I truly have not seen a board like this. The heart and soul commitment, the amount of time you spend in meetings, on calls, visiting students, bringing friends to our schools, and then the personal generosity, as you were mentioning, scholarships, ways to help our students continue to thrive. So it's truly extraordinary. I do want to thank especially Tom Cornish and Bank United for your support of our students, and beyond your really inspiring words. It's, you know, we asked you at breakfast after meeting briefly, would you be our honoree, would you consider, would you think about it, I'll call you in a week or two. And he just said, yes, you know, when is it? And we got it going right away. But it's a true testament, isn't it, to how teachers or mentors or some other person can shape your lives, how hopelessness can be turned into dreams, and how dreams into a life of achievement and real contribution to society. And that's that ripple effect you mentioned just now that we do see happening and is so heartwarming for us. and Rashid Dilworth Silvera. You are just a wonderful example of exactly that teacher and that mentor. We've met a few times, like as orienting to the board or whatever, or planning this event. Everywhere we go, somebody shows up and grabs him, and they were his student, and their life has been transformed. So you have turned around so many, you've been that teacher, turned around so many students' perspectives and touched hearts and transformed lives, and got them into college at no charge, as we said. Otherwise, you'd be giving, a whole lot more. I'd be coming behind you. But I'm truly so grateful that Nico Ilmale introduced us a year ago, and that you're now part of the New York Edge family. A few other thank yous. Thank you to our sponsors, and again, all of you that you're here, giving your time to be with us, to learn more, to help us spread the word. And to that, great men are committed to great causes, I guess is what we were hearing earlier. Special thanks to that great man, Francis Greenberger. You continually inspire me, our board chair. And also, for that, the event leadership gift, which inspired others to make their own personal stretch gifts. Thank you, Ben Stacks and Harriet Cole and Bill Ritter. Thank you for adding your voices and reflections in support of the honorees and in support of New York Edge. We couldn't say it better. So our event host committee too. Could you all stand, please, quickly, that host committee. They were so busy this year finding a new CEO. Rob Tuckman, stand up. Rob. And you got it all done. You got it. Thank you. So thank you to the co-chairs, Susan Newman, Paul Gottsagen, and the committee members, Nico Elmale, Kelly Sleece, DeShonda Brown, Christy Houlihan, Danielle Lombardo, Pascal Heinlein, Sedona Georgescu, Robert Tuckman, and Ben Stacks. So thank you also to Radical Galaxy for working with our staff to create the New York Edge image that you can see in the rooms outside. If you use the iPad, then this magical New York Edge logo appears. So we're going to capture that in bigger ways. We thought maybe we could get the children, we could capture the school and have you visit the school while just standing with your iPad, but we weren't quite able to do that yet. Thanks to Stamp Event Management for keeping us on track to our goal and helping with all the logistics. I do want to thank our staff for the tireless efforts behind the scenes. It's been amazing, orchestrating every detail of this event. Beth Latanzi-Riesman, Michelle Simari, Marisol De La Rosa, and the program and other development staff members that you've met today, and especially Kate McGowan, our fearless leader. You pulled off another solid, sold out and solid event. Where is Kate? She's lost. She's doing things. Oh, she's at the back there. So, all right. So today we heard from two extraordinarily generous individuals. Their personal stories and commitment to ensuring education is available to all will always inspire me to give back. And New York Edge is, as you know, providing that edge that students need to succeed. And I wanted each of you to think for just one moment. We talked about mentors and teachers or coaches. Is there a person you can think of, or it could be a family member, that really molded you through the many chances you may have needed into the person you are today? If you can remember this person who believed in you, and think about that we too at New York Edge, we're striving to provide that same encouragement, those very character-building qualities that we see in our honorees, to shape and propel the New York City students from these really tough circumstances to transform their lives and their capacity to contribute. And they're ready for it. They want to help. So on your tables, there are actually these books, and in the book, you have the lovely poem that was recited, that they came and we pushed and they flew. So you have that poem on the cover. Inside, you have your New York Edge envelope, and I, after hearing my friends today speak, I have to write a check. And I, by the way, raised many, many children. One day I'll tell you my crazy story. And I am sitting on, I can't tell you how many college loans, but I thought, well, at least let me write $1,000. Maybe other of you that finish with your college loans can do 10,000. I don't know. I don't know what you can do, but let's do it. So I have my additional pledge. I have a pen here if anyone needs to borrow. The old-fashioned ways. There are lots of other ways that you can help us. But honestly, we can find, and we must find, a way to keep the doors open for our after-school programs to help more children, because our funding is not secure. You know, we want to help more children hold on to hope. The student in the video was talking also about his despair and wanting to give up and maybe not be here anymore, take his own life, and then he showed the impact of these great teachers, some of whom are in the room. So help us give them that edge to succeed in life. And I think some of the students and staff will be walking around later. You're going to get dessert. That's your reward. But they'll be walking around and really to say thank you, first of all, as you think about what you might be able to do, how you might be able to get involved. You might want to get involved in small ways, in bigger ways, get your company more involved. We're grateful for anything you can do. And, you know, that check is very, very wonderful too. So thank you again for being here. We're truly grateful for your support and encouragement.
Except for dessert, that's it. I'm supposed to remind you of some weighty things. The silent auction. There's several opportunities to bid and help this, and it's tax deductible. There's very few things that are tax deductible, as those of you in the real estate business know these days. But everyone else in New York knows that as well. The U.S. Open Tennis President's Suite, up for bid. Red Bulls tickets, up for bid. That's the soccer team. Tribeca Film Festival closing night, very big, up for bid. NHL tickets, that's hockey. I assume for next year, although the Islanders are still in it, right? Is that right? Yes, they are. Okay, down 2, but they're still in it. And then to watch a newscast of Eyewitness News with me, and 4 people over the age of 5, and cell phones off. And if you never watch a newscast in person from a studio, you will never watch it the same again. So I urge you to bid on that. One of the great things about my job is that I get to watch a lot of speeches. One of the not so great things about my job is I get to watch a lot of speeches. And in a time of unkindness and vitriol and not so nice language, we heard 2 of the most powerful speeches I have heard in a long time today. And I thank you both for that. We need more of that, and I appreciate my honor to be here today. Eyewitness News first at 4, 5, and 6, and then 11 tonight if you're watching television. And we do have dessert coming, so stick around. Thank you. We'll see you next time, and don't forget your cards.